convert a percentage into a decimal. And if it's not in years, you have to convert it into years. So simple interest is calculated by applying the interest rate to the original principal amount, resulting in linear growth. So there are two formulas. So the first one is I is equal to PRT. So this is formula one. This determines how much interest is added onto the original amount that you have put in. So for example, if I have $500 and they ask me to find the interest off of $500, this is what you would use. Equation 2 is A is equal to P times 1 plus R times the time. So this is if you want to figure out the total worth of the amount you have borrowed. So the first one is to just calculate interest, and the second one is to calculate the total worth of whatever it is you borrowed or whatever investment you made. So again, capital I is the interest, capital P is the principal, which is the original amount you put in or borrowed. R is the interest rate as a decimal. So you have to take the percentage and convert it into a decimal. So for example, if we have 6%, in order to convert that into a decimal, I divide it by 100 and I get 0.06. Now the time is always going to be in years. Okay, so if it's in days, you have to convert it into years. If it's in months, you convert it into years, and so on and so forth. So how many days are in a year? How many weeks in a year? 52. 52. Yep, 52 weeks is 1 year. Okay, this one's easy. How many months?
Oh my god, why didn't I know that? I was like thinking about that. Oh, this is too hard, guys.
Am I forgetting any other thing, or is that basically it?
Seconds.
Yep. Sure.
How many minutes?
No.
Seconds.
No. That's it. No.
No, but there's
That's it.
seconds.
So you have days, weeks, and months. Those are going to be the three things that you're probably going to have to convert from into years. So let's look at example number 1. So we want to determine the interest on $4,000 if we borrow it for 95 days at 12% per year. So the first thing I need to do is to obviously convert my days into years. So what would I have to do with 95? How do I convert that from days to years? Nope. Divide. So when you're going from days to years, you're going to divide by 365. And if you're doing the opposite, you multiply. So when you're going from days to years, you're dividing. So I need 95 divided by 365 and round it to 4 decimal places. 95 divided by 365. Someone tell me what that is. Yep. 0.2603. What is my... So we're determining the amount of interest, or am I using equation 1 or equation 2? That's what I forgot to start off with. If I'm looking for the amount of interest, am I using 1 or 2? 1. So we have our time, which is 0.2603. What is my rates? I have to convert 12.5% into a decimal. What would that be?
Is that A?
PRT.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Yep, thank you. So we're going to take 12.5 divided by 100, and I get 0.125. And what is my principal? What do I start with? So I borrow 4,000, and I need to check out how much I owe at the end of it. So P is 4,000 times R, which is 0.125, times my T, which is 0.2603. So all you're doing is just multiplying those three numbers together and telling me what you get. And because it has to do with money, how many decimal places are you going to round to? 2. Yep, what would it be? Yep. So yeah, I borrowed $4,000, but at the end of it, I still owe the bank an extra $130.
Why?
Because here's how banks work. Banks borrow money from the Bank of Canada at a certain rate. They have to make their money back, so the consumers borrow money at a more higher rate than the banks.
How come for T you went to Florida some of places?
Because I wanted to.
Would you get different answer every time?
Not by like significant amount, but
Do you want us to go by?
no, I'll tell you in the instructions. Therefore, there is $130.15 in interest.
So interest is the money that you owe the bank because you borrowed the money?
Basically, the bank says, hey, I'll let you borrow money, but not for free. So I have to charge you a certain amount of percent on it, so I know for sure that you're going to pay it back.
So it's kind of like the same thing with student loans?
Yep.
So is that why people are going debt after student loans?
No, you're in debt when you owe student loans, but after you pay it off, you could be considered debt free if you have no other debt.
What happens when you die and you're in
Naturally.
debt? Does
Pardon?
your debt get passed on?
Depends on your will.
Huh?
No.
It's naturally like, woo.
Is it a lot of money to go secondary?
Okay, next one. I want to find I want to find the total amount of $700 borrowed for 9 months at 19%. So am I going to use equation 1 or 2 if I'm finding the total amount that I borrowed? 2. Okay, so let's start with the easy part. What's my principal? What did I borrow?
700.
Okay, what's my rate as a decimal? What's 19% as a decimal? 0.19. And now my time, because it's not in years, I have to convert it into years. So how do I go from months to years? Divide by 12, which is 0.75, right? Is it? 0.75?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I have my P, my R, and my T. So now I can just plug in all of those numbers in. So I get A is equal to P, which is 700, times 1, plus my rate, which is 0.19, times 0.75. So again, I'm going to do what's in my bracket. So 0.19 times 0.75, what would that give me? Yep. And again, we do the bracket. So 700 times 1.1425. And then you're just going to multiply those two numbers together, and it'll give you what you borrowed, or the total amount borrowed. That's what it'll give you. What would it be? Mhm. So therefore, the total amount borrowed is 799.75. Okay, so pretty easy. Simple stuff.
Way easier than the other.
Yep. So next one, I want to determine the number of days it will take $900 to earn $40 in interest at 13.25%. So I have my principal, I have the interest I earned, I have my rate. So we're going to use equation 1. Except which variable are we solving for this time? T. So how do I isolate for T?
Move it.
Move what? Divide by? No. So-
Divided by
So what's preventing T from being alone?
R. So then divide by PR.
So I divided by PR is equal to the time. So my interest is what? What's my interest in the question? $40. What's my principal? How much did I borrow? 900. And what is my rate as a decimal? So 13.25 divided by 100. Okay. So now all I have to do is plug it in. So 40 divided by P, which is 9,000, times my rate, which is 0.1325, is equal to T. So do the two numbers in the denominator first and multiply those together. And can someone tell me what they got? Okay. And now all you have to do is do 40 divided by 119.25 and just round it to the we'll round it to the fourth decimal place again.
The 4?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
0.3354. So is this time that we got, is that in years or days? Nope. Look at the definition of T.
Days.
Nope.
Years.
No, T is in years. So our T over here is in years. So how would I convert that into days? Multiply by 365. And what would that give me?
got 122.
Did you divide or multiply?
I did not multiply.
And what'd you get?
13.775.
Try again. So it was 122.4, right?
Wait, so how do you find out how many days?
We take our T, our answer that's in T, because that's in years. We have to multiply it by 365 to get the amount of days.
Is it always in years?
Yeah.
So then for the first question, you didn't multiply the days by years because it wasn't specifically asking for the years, right?
No, it'll take 120 years?
No, 122 days.
Oh. It's a lot of years.
Therefore, it will take around 122 days. So again, this is easier than all of the stuff we did previously. Okay. So we'll do two more, and then the last one you'll do alone. So number 6 you'll do by yourself. We'll do 4 and 5 together. Okay, so Steve was charged $124.66 in interest for a loan for 100 days at 6.5%. What is my principal? So what equation am I going to use? It says he was charged $124 in interest. First one. The reason why we're using the first one is because it doesn't tell us what his total amount borrowed was. So I know my interest is 124.66. What is my rate as a decimal? Careful.
Wait, how do you find the rate?
Take your percentage and divide it by 100. And then my time, because it's in days, I have to convert it into years. So how do I do to get from days to years? Divide by 365, which is what? 0.2740. Okay. So this question is asking us to solve for my principal. So how do I isolate for principal? Yep. So I have my I, which is 124.66. I have my rate, which is 0.065. And I have my time, which is 0.2740. And that is going to give me my principal. So now you have to multiply your denominators together, and you will get a specific answer.
Wait, we're finding P, right?
Yeah. So what do you get when you multiply your denominators together? Yep. Perfect. And now what's left to do is divide the numerator by the denominator and give me your answer to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Should be bigger than that. 124.66 divided by 0.017. 6,999.44. So therefore, the principal was $6,999.44. Okay, next one. So what rate of interest would the bank be paying if you receive $10.63 in interest on a $300 principal after 5 months? So what equation am I gonna use? One. Yeah, like the game.
I love that game. I'm not.
No, that game gets very violent if you have specific house rules that people don't know, like stacking the plus twos.
Oh,
I
please do
do.
that.
I love
Plus
doing
two
that.
and plus four is like.
Okay, so I'm isolating for R. So how do I find R? How do I solve for rate? Yep. I divided by PT gives me my rate. So what's my interest? How much interest did I earn? Or how much interest did I receive?
You said the $10.
Yep. Yep. What's my principal? 300. And remember, I have 5 months, so I need to convert that into years. So 5 divided by 12 is what?
What?
So I need to take my months and convert that into years.
0.416.
0.417. We'll round it to. So now I have my I, the P, and the T. So I is 10.63, P is 300, and T is 0.417, and that all gives me my rate. So again, do your denominator first. 300 times 0.417 gives me what? Okay. So now I need to take 10.63 and divide it by 125.1. And we're going to round it to the third decimal place. What would R be to the third decimal place? 0.085. So this is my rate as a decimal. How do I convert a decimal into a percent?
Times it,
Times by?
100.
So what is my rate? Anyone?
85%.
Not 85. 8.5%.
Oops.
So therefore, the interest rate is 8.5%. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, so these last few lessons are going to be the easiest ones. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about compounding interest. And then Wednesday, you guys are not here. Thursday, we'll talk about the last lesson.